Welcome to another episode of ITCOM, where real men talk. Today we'll be discussing male vulnerability, and joining me would be TV and film producer Soji Ogunnaike, TV presenter Chuey Chu, and brand expert and filmmaker Chike Ohiagu. Let's get into it. Let me ask you a question. As a supposedly Nigerian man, what is vulnerability to you? You should have taken that drink.
What's vulnerability to me?
What does it mean to you? What does it mean to be vulnerable as a man?
Man, I think it has different definitions, man.
And your own?
My own? I'm not really very comfortable with the concept of vulnerability. I think part of it has to do with my zodiac sign. We're not known to be very vulnerable.
Pretend that none of us knows your zodiac sign.
Yeah.
Just
like Capricorns, man. Those who know signs. Capricorns aren't very, they're not known to be easily vulnerable.
Bros, what's your sign?
I'm a Capricorn as well, and I didn't know this because a girl told me I was a Capricorn. I really don't.
You didn't know your star sign?
No, I was told now. The ladies seem to know those things now. But they tell, oh, you're Capricorn, I can't date you. You're Gemini, I don't know, all that stuff. So this is interesting to me. So I want to hear where he goes.
Before we get there, Soji, what's your own sign?
I'm Cancer.
You actually are in my life, but what's your actual star sign?
Cancer.
Cancer is a sign.
So you're a crabby nigga as well. Okay, carry on. Let's go back to you. Be vulnerable. Talk about vulnerability and your issues with it.
I struggle. I don't know.
Isn't that the definition of vulnerability, struggling?
Yeah, but there's also struggling to show that you struggle.
Okay, so why do you struggle?
It's just not what I know, right? I'm just wired to just power through. And I feel like sometimes, I think vulnerability exists in different shapes or forms. I think people have a general perception of what vulnerability should be like, and that's why I think it's dangerous, right? A lot of people expect vulnerability in words, the things you say. But there's the age-old wisdom that actions speak louder than words. Not a lot of people look for vulnerability in your actions. They look for it in the things you say. What do I mean by actions? You could talk about how you got into a car accident, and you may tell the same story 5 times in the space of a month to the same person. Now the person just gets bored at how you're saying it. They don't understand that that's you showing your vulnerability. You don't even know you're showing your vulnerability. They don't look for other ways in which you express, that vulnerability. I think that's why I struggle, because I don't think I show it in the conventional way.
Fair enough, but you haven't answered what vulnerability means.
To me, it's just like, I don't know, expressing your weak sides, expressing your insecurities, I guess.
Okay. Mr. Crab.
I think vulnerability is essentially the level at which you break down all emotional barriers to the external world. And I'll give you a quick analogy. When you watch some episodes of America's Got Talent and find yourself crying, right? When you watch a movie, you cry. You listen to a song, you cry. It means... So a good example of a vulnerable state is when watching a movie, because you've broken down those barriers and your emotions are directly connected to what you are perceiving, right?
Okay.
So which is why it is almost very easy to express your emotions while watching a movie.
But there's a difference. What does vulnerability mean to you? Or what does being vulnerable mean to you?
Breaking down emotional barriers.
And crying in the movies, big an emotional barrier to you.
This is what we're
Okay. Chief. Cancer number 2. Sorry, Capricorn number 2.
It's not Cancer.
Capricorn number 2. I'm a very...
This is vulnerability. Honestly, I don't know, because the way the world describes it now is a form of weakness. When you're vulnerable, you're seen as weak. You don't have a spine. You're cowardly or something. But at the same time, it's what the world is pushing now, that you need to be vulnerable, you need to be open. I don't know. It's a messy thing. I don't think there's one clear definition for it because it changes depending on the situation.
But to you,
To me,
at its basic core, what does it mean?
I think it's a level of openness, being able to express yourself without fear of being used against you or being maligned or something along those lines. Yeah,
Being judged.
being judged. Yeah,
So in essence, basically, we all agree that for men, if I take a sample here, vulnerability basically comes with fear.
with what?
Fear.
Fear is
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You define vulnerability as
Oh, yeah.
you know fear as a corollary to vulnerability. Okay, so that being with that said, what are you afraid of?
For me, I'd say being considered weak, not being able to, just basically doing what you're supposed to do as a man. That's it. Yeah.
Permit me to interject. So
Yeah,
hold
go
on, you
ahead.
just said not being able to do what you're supposed to do because other people see you as weak.
Mm-hmm.
How does somebody else seeing you as weak prevent you from doing what you're supposed to do?
I think it's more of a mental thing. Okay, for example, me, I'm the first son in my family. And
Me
We all-
too, dog.
We all know that. We all know that. You, uncle.
Last born?
Oh, explains you. What they kind of
Bluetooth. Okay, so there's a lot of responsibility on my head. I have two younger ones. I'm the only one in the country. And my dad is late, God rest his soul.
Amen.
I find a lot of times when my mother needs something or I need to give emotional support, my siblings are fine there. We're all adults, they're living their life. But I find myself always trying to make ends meet, making sure everybody's okay, especially my mom, and then there are all the responsibilities as an Igbo boy back home that I have to make sure.
Sorry to cut into you again.
Yeah, go ahead.
When your mom needs emotional support, you find yourself focused on fixing things. But what she wants from you is to provide comfort or solace. Because I find it interesting that for you, there's still this thing of it's either fear or almost as if the fear of giving it means that you'll be able to do what you think you're supposed to do, but the person's not asking you to give them money.
Right.
They're simply saying, I'm hurting here. Come empathize with me. Why are you so afraid to just do that? Because that's the question. Why are you so afraid to join her in that space thing? All she wants from, because if you're doing what you're supposed to do as a man, you provide comfort for those you care about. You provide protection. And she basically said, I want you to do this for me. And your response is, no, I'll go do the other thing instead. Why are you so afraid to reside in that space with her?
I actually don't have a problem doing that. I think growing up, watching how my dad associated with her, their relationship, I don't have a problem with that. If she has an emotional need, especially during the first 2 years of my father's absence, I'm her son, I'm not her husband. So there's only a limitation of what I can do as
Yeah,
a
her first son.
Bro, you're practically the second husband, man. You're
I've
practically.
never liked that statement.
You've heard that, right?
Yeah, and I hate that.
You gotta come
I
to
don't
terms
like
with
it.
No, it's true
Yeah.
because there's a saying. A mother is a son's first love. A son is the mother's last love.
Okay.
Good.
Great saying. I don't subscribe to it. I don't subscribe to
Feels
it.
like it. Like living with your mom is like practice for when you gotta live with the wife.
And, well, depends on, not all women are the same. So you
Be
can't.
careful how we define practice.
Go on.
Oh,
No, because every woman, I want to believe every woman and is different, and it's not like anybody's looking to marry their wife, marry their mother, because marry their mother, because obviously there's some traits you will look for in a wife that you want to see similar to your mom, but you're looking for somebody that's different and matches you, someone you can spend the rest of your life with without stressing, because
Matches.
matches, yeah, the blends,
Blends, thank you.
I
Oh,
think
you want to say something? What do you want?
I think.
No, go on now.
Well, I mean, I think marriage is all about completion.
Okay.
Not much, but go on.
All right, fair enough.
marriage is all about completion.
Yeah, complete where you
A
like.
lot of incomplete
What?
people.
Where you out of it?
There's a lot of incomplete people in Nigeria. Then,
Yeah, that's
You
what
know,
love
are you
marriages
complete?
Failed.
I'm not married, so
So by his definition, they're incomplete.
I mean, I'm saying a lot of men with rings on their fingers are still incomplete, I guess.
Because they're married wrongly.
Yeah, it's just what it is. I want to quickly hop on, like, you pointed out how it seems that every time it seems his mom wants emotional support, he rather does something else physical. Just a few days ago, I watched this thing that said, in an experiment carried out amongst babies, when you put an obstacle between the baby and their mother, the boys will focus on
The obstacle.
pushing it, getting out the way, climbing, going around. The girls are just chill there and cry. And just cry and express emotion. But the boys are just naturally wired to just find a solution, find a way around it.
Even if it's not the solution that's required.
Yeah, but it's just the way you're wired. And I think it just comes down to understanding. I think these days, females, a lot of females look for, they don't try to understand a guy saying some things in his own language. So maybe a girl wants to hear "I love you" in English, but he only knows how to do it with like his head or his hands, right? But it's the same thing. It means this. It carries the same weight. But because it doesn't come in the package that you recognize it,
Do not go there.
you then tend to, knock a man for it. Same thing with, vulnerability. I like to use this analogy. When a dog wags its tail, what does it mean?
Supposed to be happy.
It's happy.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
No?
The dog will attack you and wag his tail.
But the general
is wagging its
consensus,
tail?
the general
The
consensus,
dog wags his tail, it's excited.
excited.
Okay,
But
excited.
did the dog tell you that in English? No, the dog didn't tell you.
The body language.
You chose to understand the language of the dog. A lot of people don't choose to understand the language of the other person to get them.
So by that definition, you have no problem being vulnerable, but your way of showing vulnerability is different from
It's
what
not the typical way. So sometimes his way of providing support, his emotional reaction to his mom's needs is by doing something. It's rooted in the same emotion. It just doesn't come out the same way.
Yes, however, by definition, being vulnerable actually means being, in a sense, less than strong, being open to harm or damage, right? And it's that word openness, because technically speaking, by that argument, men don't really fall in love. They just find someone that they can fix things, because you have to be open to somebody else coming to your life. So again, male, female, I'm having a tough time understanding that at a time, I'm going to use your example. Somebody needed you for something, right? They didn't need to fix anything. You chose to, in essence, ignore that because you said, no, hold on. I said, in essence, I didn't, no, listen again, because he said his brothers can do all that, right? He started looking for things to fix. And then you said, as an extension, because the guys are always afraid, a man will be afraid of being seen, not able to do what he's doing if he shows vulnerability. So I come back to why are we so afraid? Because you also use fear a lot to show that we can be, in essence, I won't use the word weak, but less than strong.
It's not easy, man. He didn't. I don't think he chose, or it would apply to me. I don't think I choose to ignore something. Half the time is how you're wired, how you were nurtured. It's what you know. Your reality is not my reality. It's very different. So sometimes, if I see you fiddle with your thumbs, because of how I am, I can see that that's when you're vulnerable. But normally, the regular person will say, "Oh, hi, I'm vulnerable."
Okay.
Right. And then I would choose to then treat you as if you said those words, "I am vulnerable."
Okay. What are you like when you are vulnerable? How do you deal with it? And do you let anybody in? And Chuey, in your case, because you say this is the way you've wired, and you're not a child anymore. You've had a lot of experiences. So I'm assuming that you'll have learned by now to deal with most of it, because everybody in life goes through vulnerability, whether it's financial, emotional, relationship. But again, in this conversation, everyone is talking about other people. So I'm like, what is your situation and how do you deal with it? And also, how do you share it? Or do you share it?
Can we flip that scenario and make you the grieving one and make your daughter the one you need to be vulnerable to?
Thank you.
How would you handle it?
Or do you not get vulnerable when you suffer extreme loss or upheaval?
I get what you're saying. But obviously, it doesn't have to be extreme loss. It can be work. It can be, like you said, finance. This could be anything. In that case, I mean, honestly, I don't want to go before my wife. But if that case were to happen, I think I should be able to open up to my kids and say, "Hey, this is what I'm going through." You know?
No, you're
No?
not.
Hold on,
No.
you think you should be able to?
I think.
Have you never been vulnerable then?
No, I have.
How did you deal with it?
I would.
Because you keep dancing there.
No, see, so no, I don't have a problem. Like if I'm with somebody, I'm in a relationship, I feel that I should be able to be open with you. Now, there's a level, and also because of the person's character, some people would use that as a weapon against you.
Okay.
Then there are other people that will be more understanding and empathetic. I'm not coming to you ask for solutions because I already know what the solution is. I just want to share, express myself, get it off my chest.
But vulnerability is not about solutions and problems. It's just the state that you are. So nobody's asking you to fix or getting someone to fix something.
Yeah.
It's just your state.
But are you supposed to remain in that state?
You're supposed to experience that state
Exactly.
Fine.
and let it pass.
What's the most vulnerable moments, if you had to remember, that you've been in?
I've been through different levels. One of the most vulnerable would be when I lost one of my close friends, BJB. And obviously, no. My most vulnerable stage was when I had COVID. I think
Yeah, I remember that.
And I had made up my mind I was going to die. Yeah. It was that bad. I was on oxygen and all that, all the while.
Damn.
And I literally was looking at my family and okay, how are they going to continue without me? That was my most vulnerable state. So it was the first time that I saw my daughter cry. She's like me. She likes to mask a lot of emotions. She broke down and was like, she knew that there was something wrong, that this man could probably go. So funny enough, I laughed because she never cried in my front. She would cry in her room. My wife would not come and tell me that her daughter is crying. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was it.
Did you confess anything when you thought you were going to go? Nah, bro. What the hell?
I don't understand, dude.
I had COVID. I don't know if I thought I was going to die, but that was tough too.
I knew I was going to die because I
knew you were gonna die.
You were going to take everything to the grave.
Excuse me, are we dealing with, so you're dead now?
No. You knew you were going to die.
Let me explain.
You didn't confess anything.
I don't understand.
So even though your deathbed, it looks like you struggle with vulnerability. You didn't.
Why am I going
did not
to die? You confess to God.
No, you see, the thing is, I'm also very aware of repercussions of things.
Oh. Okay.
So you didn't fold.
No. Why
Mad.
should I?
This is a confession, Shabbat.
I mean, the women know that they take certain truths to their grave. So you cannot confess everything. Anything like that. They don't have a kid outside. But anyway, yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Talking about it actually struck some strings. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. You made a statement that it's a very interesting statement that you were vulnerable, you thought you were going to die. And you sort of did what were accused a guy of doing. It's you thought of if your family would be able to cope without you.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
So
Even your vulnerability, your focus was on what you could not do for your family.
Yeah.
Now, I ask that question because is that itself a source of vulnerability? Because again, it's a fear that either you haven't done enough to safeguard, and then it's like, so do I tell them or not? If I don't tell them, what happens if I do die and they don't? Because again, look at the internal dynamic here, because vulnerability is two ways. You can see it, can I solve it? No. Can I ask someone to solve it with me? Even if I cannot solve it, people cannot solve my situation. Can someone share this with me? And I go back to the idea of vulnerability being almost a willingness, despite your worst, most protective instincts, to accept that I don't have a solution. What do you do? And again, it's interesting because I would ask you, Chuey, what his most vulnerable moment ever was? Was it? You said it was COVID?
I say recent memory was like last year. this happened like a year ago, and as you're talking about you dying and what you can't provide, I was thinking about a year ago. I think the first 4 months of last year was maybe the toughest, because on average, for every month of the year, I was losing somebody I know. The first person was like the South African rapper AKA. This is one of my top all-time favorite like artists, like home and abroad, top 3. He's a Manchester United fan like me. I met him, I interviewed him once. Troublesome guy, but I really connected to that guy. And when I saw the news of his death, I was like looking at my phone, and I turned to one of my best friends. I'm like, "Yo, bro, they just shot this guy." And I didn't know I was looking at the next person I was about to lose.
Oh, damn.
So, and then he dies, suicide, right? And I think about that. Obviously, I lose 2 more people after, and it's just like, yo, I'm thinking about what his mind state was, like
Toma.
could he not share? Like I did find out later, like he did share 1 or 2 things with somebody else, and he had his issues, he had his demons he was fighting, but yeah, man, when you talk about, I think I felt a bit vulnerable, but I don't know if some of us are wired. The fear of some things used against you is like when you express that vulnerability, you're quick to just mop it up and secure yourself. Like if I tell you I don't like this thing, I will make sure right immediately you cannot use this thing against me.
Why is that?
It's just, again, maybe it's a trust thing. Maybe it's a...
Why is it that in essence, men are afraid of being vulnerable because they think it will be weaponized against them?
Yeah.
And if so, why that fear? Because I might be wrong, but I don't think women have that problem.
But I think it's the way society is has created the rules, and that's mostly on men. This is a patriarchal society, so we essentially
But we are raised by women, strangely enough.
Yeah, we're raised by women, but men call the shots. So I think it's the sorry, real quick. I think it's the essentially some men are suffering for the actions of the men that walked before us. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, generation, what they call generation.
We created it, now we are dying by our own poison.
So I agree and disagree in a way, because I think women are wired differently. A woman can share with another woman. When they share and they're vulnerable with each other, that's how they connect. It is easier for them to share all the little details, all the relationship issues, all that stuff.
But men don't share with women, and men don't share with men.
Men share with men. Men will share.
We share women. Leave that one.
No,
men
share women.
Men share women, yes, but men don't share with women. Is the point I'm making.
Men do.
They do.
And with men?
I imagine married women, they like to gossip with their wives. Just don't stay outside.
When was the last time you shared a vulnerable moment with anyone?
Fairly recently.
Okay, what exactly was that? Not decision, but how did you share it?
I don't know. I'm working on that whole vulnerability thing, so I was able to just share. I mean, it's easier to, honestly, sometimes it's easier to share vulnerable moments with women because they are more receptive to these things. But like your guys, like you are fast, boy. It says you're on the phone now. Like the jokes just come flying out.
Those are the barriers we're talking about.
So here's a flip side to all that as well. Is it possible that, to piggyback on what you said about different languages and modes, is it possible that men actually become vulnerable in different ways? So, for example, stereotypes, yes, but a man and a woman both suffer a loss or a tragedy or a devastating situation.
Mm-hmm.
Male and female friends of the woman will come down to the kids, will come down and sit down with her. What do you need? How are you? Let's talk. Guys, bro, maybe we drink, maybe we go outside, maybe we talk, we'll laugh and banter. Is that a way of being vulnerable without saying it, putting things off to a later date? Because there's no catharsis in actually just confronting the issue. And if it's the latter, again, why don't we? Is it just being weaponized against you? Because if you can share with women, why are you so afraid to share it with people that know that more naturally know what it is that we go through, your challenges, your obstacles? Why can't we then be like, I'm dealing with this?
So, what solution would that provide? That would be my question.
It's not meant to have a solution. You're going back to that default setting of fixing things. It's for... You know how this when... Have you ever been so angry that you just screamed out? Or you punched the wall? Catharsis.
I did that. I've done that.
So
No, it was after my dad died. I was going through... I didn't know how to express it because I literally saw my dad die. So it was at hospital. I brought my mom back home. I had to call the neighbor. She was crying. I had to calm her down. I was actually calm throughout this whole thing. But then when I had a moment by myself,
Hits you later.
yeah. I was like, I didn't feel like crying, but I felt this.
something had to come out.
Yeah. So I punched the wall. And after that, I just focused on the pain in my hand and I just continued doing. I'm not saying I didn't have a cry later on. That came later on when my siblings showed up and everything. But
You cried in front of your siblings.
no, I didn't. Sorry, no.
That came down my
Sorry, you're not seeing
thing at all.
See, here's the thing. You can be vulnerable and then people will see it as weakness.
But that's not the issue here. It's, were you vulnerable?
You have to be strong for everybody else.
Exactly.
Did they tell you that? Or is that what you assumed?
No.
No, it's a question.
Because it's just as first sons, you know, they just...
It's your
Your
responsibility.
first son?
Yes.
You are wired, or actually a good first son. I want to assume all of us here are good first sons.
He's a good last born.
Sorry. I'm sure you're a good last born.
It's the one that every cries to everybody. They just hold it. Oh my God, it's gonna be okay.
But funny enough, all my family, I actually have uncles that think I'm firstborn.
Because you act like a firstborn. So, yeah, that's fine. But the thing is, okay, I can speak for myself because it was how I was raised. Because I remember getting a fight with my sister, and my dad punished us. And he said, you're supposed to protect them. And that's my understanding. Protect your younger ones, even at whatever cost it is to you. That's the way I see it. And that's the way I've been raised. And I respect that.
I'm going to pivot to Soji in a minute, but that's one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who protects you? And where do you go when you need protection? Who do you go to when you need protection? Or do you not go to anybody?
Did I go to any?
Do you not go to, not just one instance, as in generally, do you habitually seek out a place to go to, a person to go to?
Okay, so
It's a yes or no
again,
answer. It's a yes or no answer first.
yes.
Okay.
You do.
Oh, I do.
Okay, cool.
I do.
That's fine. That's fine.
Alright.
Soji, what do you do? How do you tackle vulnerability?
So I believe most Nigerian men, African men, are most vulnerable, or they create a space or a place, mentally or physically, where they're alone and are most vulnerable. We try not to be vulnerable in front of other people, and that I think is the biggest problem.
Yes.
Because we struggle with being vulnerable.
Yes.
From my experience, I was raised by a single dad, and so I've literally not even known what motherly love, if you get what I mean, is.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what you guys are talking about.
That's fair.
All I know is sacrifice, provide, ensure they're okay. Right? That's all I have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just learning that, there's a lot more to fullness and, expressing the full spectrum of life and emotions than solving problems.
Who's teaching you that?
Myself. So I've been on a personal journey for a bit, which has led to a lot of things. One is dumping religion and other things. So yeah, I've been on that personal journey, finding myself, which I think every man should go through. Find yourself, because nobody, like you said, who takes care of us? So we need to find ourselves. And one thing I try to encourage my friends of my age, start enjoying your alone time. You need to start learning how to enjoy your alone time. Don't always dwell on, some holy books will say, communion of man. And all of that. No, I think we need to find ourselves within ourselves. People use the buzzword self-awareness a lot, but don't really understand what it means. So, yeah.
So it's kind of funny because I have a different situation entirely. I'm my firstborn.
Yeah.
I understand, but I struggle fundamentally with what is supposed to be the role of the first son. I try to fulfill my other call-outs. I'm aware of when I fall short with that. I'm also capable, and it took me a long time to accept that it was a good thing to be capable of letting it be known. I have fears. I have doubts. It took layers, but it was really funny, and it's really when you spoke about you had COVID and then your friends died. And I remember when my dad died, there was a whole thing of, okay, you know what? Everybody was touching base with everybody else, and we were all looking after our mother because she knew him the longest. And I remember the first time I broke down, because I broke down in stages. There was a whole planning for the funeral and everything else. And like a typical guy, I was just barreling through everything else. And it's the funniest thing in the world. That very first time I was in my office, I was working on the program. And I'd done everything. I'd taken all the tributes. I'd read everything. I was editing. I was fine. But then the key thing is this. I had to, on the first one, I had to speak there. So I wrote my personal speech for the church. Then I had to write my father's life story. And I was fine. In the last sentence, like, on this day, he died. I broke down. Just kind of funny because I always play it as a, like a movie. I broke down and I remember stopping and rushing to the cabinets. I was like, I was actually alone. I was in my office at about 11 p.m. And I grabbed a drink. As per guy now, as I took the shots, I went backwards and I fell down and I bawled. And it was when I wept. And the funny thing was that I wept. And I got up. Got into my car, went home to bed with my wife, and I went to sleep. The next day, I had that loss, but for me, that accepting that I didn't know what to do. Then when we buried him, oh Jesus Christ, I cried in the church. And funny because my wife basically, I finished my speech and I broke down and I ran out. I finished the speech again, and I walked out, but I didn't go back to my family. I walked out, crying. And at that point, that's why I said, being vulnerable for me. When I walked out, I don't like to bottle emotions up. Because when I explode, I explode. I used to do the whole punching thing. On that day, I wept, and as I was weeping, what saved me? What was that my wife grabbed me and covered me, because press boys followed me and everything. And she said, get away from my husband. I've been so thankful that somebody saw I was hurting